Hi, and welcome to this APAF F-16 training video. To kick off our training videos, we will start with CS1. CS1 contains all of the most basic skills when handling your jet. To a new pilot on DCS, even simple skills can be difficult to learn. But once you've gathered some experience in your jet, you'll find that these skills are ones you perform automatically. CS1 consists of 6 subcategories depending on your airframe. Today's lesson will be focusing on Part 1, which is aircraft startup. Starting up your jet correctly is absolutely critical in DCS, as if you perform the actions in the wrong sequence, it can cause your jet to be misaligned or even damaged in some cases. This is an example of the way I personally perform a startup in the F-16. Over time, yours will likely deviate from mine as you learn what can and cannot be pressed in certain orders. As always, you don't need to replicate this exactly every time, just prove that you can get to the end result comfortably. Please keep in mind that in APAF we perform expedited startups that do not include any of the pre-startup bit tests you would find in actual aircraft. While we encourage you to learn them to enhance your own immersion, they are not required for APAF and will not be featured in this video. To begin our startup, we'll first come down here to our left console and find our main power switch. We'll toggle it up to main power. Afterwards, we can move up to our jet fuel starter switch. On the ground, in a completely new jet, Start 1 and Start 2 will both achieve the same result. As this turns on, you'll hear the engine start to spin up, and this RPM percentage needle will start to move up. Don't do anything until this needle has hit 20%. If you try to move your throttle into the idle position prior to this needle hitting 20%, it'll result in a failed start, and you'll have to power down the aircraft and start over completely. Generally during this time, as that needle moves up, I tend to close my canopy just to make things a bit quieter. Once closed, we'll lock it into place. With that needle indicating over 20%, we're ready to move our throttle into the idle position with right shift home. As the needle moves up and hits the 60% mark, we'll see some of the lights for the other systems in the aircraft come to life. This is our indicator that we can continue on with our startup. Back on our right console, on our avionics power panel, we can toggle up each of these switches. I generally skip the map switch, which is the last one on the top row, as this is not currently modeled in DCS. We have our mids rocker switch we'll set to on. And our INS alignment will set to stored heading. If we come up and look at our DED, it is aligning based off of the previously stored waypoint. Just to be sure it is entered properly, we will hit enter, dauber down, enter again. As this alignment is happening, be sure that you don't move the aircraft. So be sure that your throttle is physically set as far back as possible. You could even put the parking brake on if you want to be absolutely sure that your aircraft won't move. And do not load weapons onto your wings during this period, as if you do while this alignment is happening, it will kill the alignment and you'll have to do a full normal alignment. As this is happening, we have a few other systems we can bring to life. Being that this is DCS and there is no ground crew for us to actually microwave, we'll go ahead and turn on any of our radar systems. Right hardpoint and left hardpoint for our external pods. Up here we have our data link. We'll toggle this to link 16. And we can scroll wheel up this SAI uncage knob to uncage it. Generally, I like to turn on the wing first fuel transmission, but that's up to you. Up here on our ICP, we'll turn on our HUD symbology to the brightest setting. As we continue to move down to the left, we can go ahead and arm our ejection seat. We have our countermeasures dispenser system. We can go ahead and turn this on to either manual or semi. This will be covered later, as this bears an effect on the ECM pod if you have it equipped. But for now, semi mode will do fine. We'll turn on our flares, chaff, and each of these 3 switches over on the left. We'll turn on our helmet mounted cueing system up to the highest brightness, and we can see that it is now on. And don't forget to turn on your RWR threat indicator. Generally, when I do this, something I like to do is come up here and turn it on to the priority mode. We have our auxiliary radio system. We can turn this on by switching it to main. Generally, I'll go to preset. This rarely gets used, but it's good to have it and know how to use it. Back here on our IFF switch, we'll turn it to normal so that friendlies know that we're friendly. And we can adjust any of our external lighting as needed. Back on our INS alignment, we can see this number is 3.5 by 10, and it has this ready text next to it. This means that we can throw this into navigation mode. Be sure to click this quickly. Don't linger on normal alignment, or it will start a normal alignment. As long as this secondary number is by 10, you'll see it count down from, I think, 100. As long as it's by 10, that gives us the best alignment possible for the aircraft. Generally, this will occur at about 1.8 by 10, but I'll let this go quite a bit higher. As you can see, around 3.7, sometimes much higher than that, as I'm configuring other parts of the aircraft. At this point, this aircraft is actually ready to fly. We could take off the parking brake and just go ahead and taxi out whenever we wanted to. There are, however, a couple extra steps that are good for you to get used to doing, as they are very commonly used for APAF operations. If we come to our list option on our ICP, we go to our 0 for miscellaneous, and we can align our helmet mounted cueing system this way. This is important because if you don't, the targets, as you look around on the ground, you won't actually be seeing what your TGP is seeing. On this screen, this HIMIX display, we can adjust a few things where we can toggle these on or off, and they'll do various functions such as not hiding your helmet symbology as you look at the HUD. Generally, I'll leave those as is. You can experiment with them and see what you like. What we want is to hit our Dauber sequence, and this brings us to the alignment options. Here we have our course alignment. If we hit our 0 mode select, we're presented with this symbology. This symbology is pretty self-explanatory, but you're just trying to line up this bottom cross that I'm controlling with my head with this larger cross that is actually imprinted on the HUD. We bring it up. The button we will need to align this is our enable switch, which is our right here, enable switch depress button. As we click that, we'll see the aligning. Align OK. That is what we want. And now we can hit mode select again. And we'll see it drop down to the azimuth and elevation option. If we hit mode select again, we're presented with another type of symbology. For this one, we're trying to align this upper cross with the large cross. We can move this around with our TDC controller. Once they're lined up, rather than hit the enable switch, we'll hit mode select again. And it'll drop us down to the roll. Mode select, same kind of thing. Now we have roll symbology. And again, we're just lining things up, and we'll hit mode select. That is the alignment for our helmet done. Another thing that's good to get used to inputting is a bullseye. To do this, we can do similar to what we just did, list, miscellaneous, and 8 for bullseye. Now we can enable our bullseye with, again, the mode select button. And we can set this to any waypoint that we have input in our aircraft. And then we'll see our bullseye symbology given to us. With these steps, you should be pretty well equipped to start your aircraft for APAF operations. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.